There's something magnetic about a man who walks into a room and owns it without saying a word. No flashy outfit, no arrogant smirk, just presence. A grounded stillness that speaks louder than anything he could say. Women notice. Men respect it. The world reacts. That's confidence. Not loud, not desperate, but powerful, calm, and unshakable. And in today's noisy world of forced bravado and constant validation seeking, real confidence is the ultimate seduction. The kind of confidence that turns heads isn't learned in a gym mirror or from reading pickup artist manuals. It's not about alpha posturing or bragging rights. Real confidence, stoic confidence, is born in silence, forged in hardship, and rooted in values. And when it comes to attraction, it's the foreplay that starts long before you even touch her hand. In fact, it starts before you even meet her. Let's get something clear. Confidence is not a show. It's a state. A man who knows who he is, who doesn't need validation from anyone, who can walk away from chaos instead of chasing it, that man already has what most men are begging for. And that's what Stoicism teaches at its core, that peace, power, and poise come from within. There's a reason the ancient Stoics didn't chase fame, pleasure, or applause. They knew all of that was fragile, external, controllable by others. You can lose it as easily as you get it. So they built their identity on something nobody could touch, their mind. A Stoic man doesn't wait for people to see his worth. He knows it. He doesn't chase, he attracts. Not because he's playing games, but because he understands something most people miss. You're most attractive when you don't need to be liked. That's the paradox. The moment you let go of needing approval, especially from women, you start to radiate the kind of energy that people chase. Not because you're trying, but because you're centered. This confidence is real foreplay. It's what she senses when you look her in the eye without flinching. When you speak with purpose, not to impress. When you listen, really listen, not to perform, but because you're present. That's what makes her lean in. She doesn't want a man who's trying to convince her. She wants a man who doesn't need to. Why most men struggle with confidence? Let's be brutally honest. Most guys today are emotionally starving. We've grown up in a world that told us to perform, impress, and conform. We're rewarded for faking strength instead of building it. So when it comes to women, we either overcompensate, flex, brag, lie, or underperform, people please, beg, settle. That's not confidence, that's insecurity wearing different outfits. If your self-worth rises and falls based on how she responds to your text, how she compliments you, or how often she touches you, you're not confident, you're dependent. And dependence is unattractive. Confidence means you're already full. You're not begging for connection, you're offering it. But here's the thing. This kind of confidence doesn't happen by accident. It takes work, inner work, and that's where Stoicism comes in. The Stoic blueprint for inner strength. At the heart of Stoicism is a simple but ruthless idea. You control your mind, that's it. Not her emotions, not other people's opinions, not outcomes. Just your choices, your reactions, your mindset. When you truly absorb that, your energy changes. You stop asking, how do I make her like me? And start asking, do I even like myself? Am I proud of how I show up in the world? That's the shift. You go from performing to being, from chasing to choosing. And that shift is magnetic. A Stoic man doesn't fear rejection because he's not attached to outcome. He approaches with intention, not need. He speaks with clarity, not confusion. He leads with strength, not ego. He's not cold. He's calm. He's not cocky. He's convicted. That difference changes everything. The eyes never lie. You ever look someone in the eye and just feel something shift? That's not magic. That's presence. And presence is the byproduct of inner stillness, something Stoics train like a muscle. Most people don't live in the moment. They live in their heads, rehearsing lines, calculating reactions, comparing themselves. A Stoic man doesn't do that. He walks into a conversation with a stranger or a lover with no mask, no game, just honesty, stillness, and direction. And that's why women melt around him, because she can sense it. This man isn't performing. This man isn't desperate. This man doesn't need her, and that's exactly why she wants him. Her attraction starts in your mind. It's not about being better than the next guy. It's about being grounded in who you are. That groundedness creates space for play, for seduction, for connection. Not from neediness, but from abundance. Women aren't turned on by desperation. They're turned on by certainty. And certainty comes from knowing yourself, mastering your thoughts, and controlling your reactions. That's the Stoic discipline. That's how you walk into every interaction, romantic or not, from a position of power. So yes, confidence is the real foreplay. Not because it's flashy, but because it's felt. It's emotional gravity. It's the quiet force that pulls her in before you even touch her. The real work, daily mental reps. Building confidence isn't about faking it till you make it. It's about facing yourself until you no longer flinch. That means practicing Stoic principles. Control what you can, accept what you can't. Train your mind before life trains it for you. Do the hard things, not because you like them, but because they build you. Detach from outcome, attach to effort. You want confidence that turns heads? Wake up early, face discomfort, speak your truth, keep your promises, get uncomfortable. Every single day, not for women, not for clout, for yourself, because confidence isn't a skill, it's a consequence, a side effect of doing the work when nobody's watching. Masculine energy in the still mind attraction is not about words, it's about energy. And masculine energy, when it's mature, disciplined, and present, is irresistibly attractive. The masculine man is the eye of the storm. He's not easily swayed. He holds tension. He provides structure. He's not afraid to lead, and he's not afraid to walk away. That's what makes a woman feel safe, excited, and aroused. Not the lines you say, not the money you flash, but the stillness in your eyes and the calmness in your heart. The less you seek to control her, the more she's drawn to you. The more you control yourself, the more you influence everything around you. That's stoicism. That's seduction. That's real confidence. Seduction without words. The Stoic power of silent attraction. You don't need to say much when your presence already speaks volumes. That's the truth most men miss. They think attraction is built through flashy gestures, clever lines, or expensive displays. But a truly confident man knows that seduction begins before a word is spoken. It's in how he walks, how he sits, how he holds eye contact. It's in his silence, his focus, his calm. This is what makes stoicism so lethal when it comes to attraction. It trains you to master the one thing that controls all seduction: your energy. Most men fumble because they try to impress. But when you carry real confidence, you impress without trying. Your very existence becomes the invitation. Women feel your presence and lean in, not because you're chasing, but because you're centered. You're not trying to pull them in. You're simply not pushing them away with neediness, insecurity, or noise. Let's break this down. Attraction is emotional, not logical. You can't logic your way into a woman's heart. You can't overanalyze your way into her bed. Attraction is felt, not calculated. She doesn't fall for you because of your resume. She's drawn to how you make her feel. And that feeling is mostly triggered by your confidence and state of mind. If your energy screams, "I need you to want me," she'll flinch, even if you say all the right things. But if your energy calmly says, "I'd love to share time with you, but I'm whole either way," she'll be magnetized. This is where Stoic calm becomes seductive. The man who does not seek to dominate, impress, or beg becomes the man who naturally leads. She follows your energy because it's safe, clear, and self-assured. That's what turns her on. Not the performance, but the presence. Confidence is a decision. One of the most powerful Stoic principles is this: you don't wait for emotions to give you permission to act. You act regardless. Confidence isn't a mood, it's a choice, a decision, a habit built daily. It's walking into the room even when your mind says you're not good enough. It's holding eye contact even when you feel nervous. It's speaking your truth even when you fear rejection. That's how confidence is built. In the doing, not the feeling. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait to feel brave before leading Rome. He acted bravely, and confidence followed. That's what you must do in life and in love. Every moment you act from your values, not your fears. You build attraction without even trying. And that's where the power lies, when you become attractive by becoming unshakable. Masculinity isn't noise, it's stillness. Most people misunderstand masculinity. They think it's about dominance, aggression, or asserting control. But true masculinity, the kind that women respond to, is structured stillness. It's when you don't flinch in discomfort. It's when you lead without force. It's when your presence calms her chaos. A Stoic man knows how to hold space, for himself and for her. He doesn't panic when she tests him. He doesn't crumble when things get messy. He stays firm, present, and grounded. And that's what draws her in. Because most people, especially women, are overwhelmed by life. Their minds race, emotions shift. In that whirlwind, a man who stands still, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, becomes irresistible. He becomes the anchor. Control yourself. Influence everything. You cannot control a woman's desires. You can't manipulate her into wanting you, but you can influence how she experiences you by mastering yourself. If your inner world is stable, your outer world becomes attractive. Here's what that looks like. You're not bothered by silence. You don't rush to fill the gaps. You aren't triggered by rejection. You don't overreact when things don't go your way. This calmness isn't apathy. It's discipline. It says, I trust myself. I trust life. I trust my ability to handle anything. And when she feels that from you, she begins to let go too. She opens up. She softens. She leans in. Because your calm makes her feel safe. Your certainty makes her feel excited. And your stillness becomes the foreplay that happens long before the kiss. The most confident men don't compete. Here's something most insecure men can't understand. The truly confident man doesn't compete. He collaborates. He creates. He builds. He doesn't compare himself to other men because he's not measuring his worth by external validation. He doesn't chase women to prove anything. He doesn't fear other men's success because he's walking his own path. And that's deeply attractive. A woman doesn't want a man who constantly needs to prove himself. She wants a man who already knows who he is. That kind of man doesn't need to dominate the conversation or belittle other guys. He's secure in his lane, and that security radiates power. Emotional mastery is sexual energy. You can't talk about foreplay without talking about energy, the sexual kind, the kind that simmers in your gut when you're close to someone you desire. But here's what Stoicism teaches. Don't waste that energy. Use it. Control it. Channel it. Emotional mastery, the ability to feel deeply without being ruled by feelings, is what creates sexual polarity. It's the tension between control and desire, between restraint and intensity. And this is where most men get it wrong. They rush, they explode, they overdo. But a Stoic man takes his time. He enjoys the space between moments. He lets tension build. He's not afraid of silence, slowness, or seduction, because he's not ruled by lust. He rules it. And that kind of control, that's what makes a woman crave more, because she can feel you're not just reacting to her, you're leading the dance. Self-respect is the sexiest thing you can wear. Forget six-pack abs. Forget watches and sports cars. The most attractive thing about a man is how he respects himself. Does he say no without guilt? Walk away from disrespect? Keep his word to himself? Avoid gossip and drama? Show discipline with his body and mind? If yes, he's already ahead of 90% of men. Because self-respect isn't just attractive, it's arousing. It tells her that you are a man of standard. And if she wants to be in your life, she has to rise to meet it. Women want to be chosen, not collected. They don't want to be part of your game. They want to be part of your world. And that world must be built on values, direction, and discipline, not noise, desperation, or confusion. The power of saying no. Confidence isn't about saying yes to every opportunity, every woman, every compliment. It's about the ability to say no, clearly, calmly, unapologetically. When a man says no and means it, he's not rejecting the world. He's prioritizing himself. And that's powerful, because most men are afraid to disappoint. They chase validation. They become emotional slaves to whoever gives them a little attention. But not the Stoic man. He doesn't just attract women. He filters them. He's selective, intentional, purposeful, and that's what drives her crazy. Not that he wants her, but that he doesn't need her, that he chooses her, not out of lack, but from strength. Real foreplay is in the mind. Yes, physical attraction matters, but what makes a woman truly wet is not what you do with your hands. It's what you do with your energy, your tone, your presence, your command. Foreplay is when you look her in the eye, not to intimidate, but to connect. Foreplay is when you listen to her without rushing to fix her. Foreplay is when you're unfazed by her mood swings, because your inner world doesn't depend on hers. And most of all, foreplay is when she can feel you are completely present, not distracted, not needy, just there. And in a world full of men who can't sit still, emotionally or physically, that presence is a rare and deeply attractive gift. Final thought: be the flame, not the moth. Most men chase women like moths chase light, desperate, aimless, powerless. But the Stoic man is the flame, still, bright, centered. He doesn't chase. He draws people in, not with effort, but with energy. That's why confidence is the real foreplay, because it begins long before the lights dim, long before the kiss, long before the first touch. It begins when you wake up with purpose, when you walk into a room with intention, when you speak with clarity and live with discipline. That kind of man doesn't just attract women, he inspires them, challenges them, awakens them. And once she experiences that energy, she'll crave it long after you leave. Because you weren't just a man, you were a presence.